Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened, but he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think? Huh? This is going to be great television, I will say that. All right, we'll see what we can do about putting it together. Thank you. We'll see.
Between our two countries. That is why this is the greatest alliance for prosperity and security I think the world has ever seen. Whenever necessary, we absolutely backed each other up, and that's at the core.
Could you take on Russia by yourselves?
Well,
all right, one or two more.
She's asking, what if Russia breaks the ceasefire?
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now? Okay? What if they broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me. Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia. The 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam. And he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think? Huh? This is going to be great television, I will say that. All right, we'll see what we can do about putting it together. Thanks, sir.
To the White House, Jackie Heinrich has some new information for us. Jackie.
Yeah, I just went up to the press area to get an understanding of what we're watching. This is what I was told. The president has kicked Zelensky out of the White House. His delegation right now is telling him that he's got to go home. The president felt disrespected. Officials in the room felt that beyond the language barrier that we've heard some discussion about, Zelensky's body language, shrugging and eye rolling, was ungrateful, disrespectful, and the president feels that Zelensky is not ready for peace and he can come back when he's ready to talk about peace, but he's not in that position right now, and Zelensky is being told he's got to go. The lunch that they were supposed to have is sitting right outside the hallway, and the press staffers are going to be eating that lunch. This is really pretty incredible. We see the
Jackie,
SUV,
hang on with us
Zelensky's
one moment.
SUV.
If you look to your left, you're going to see him. Let's watch.
Mr. President, is the deal off? President Zelensky, can you tell us what happened?
I mentioned this, that Trump is still willing to do a deal, and he's still willing to do a deal while Zelensky is still in the country. And as we said 5 minutes ago, he's not wheels up yet. Dan.
Well, look, clearly this was a missed opportunity. I would emphasize again this meeting between President Trump and President Zelensky began with President Zelensky showing pictures of Russian war crimes. And look, Russia started the war. They invaded Ukraine. Russia could stop the war right now if they stopped raining down hell on Ukrainian civilians. But they're not doing that. And there's no question that Ukraine wants peace. I think if you ask Ukrainians, they absolutely want peace. I think President Zelensky wants peace. I think the issue for Ukraine is what Ukraine will look like post-war. What kind of reconstruction will we see? What kind of deterrence will we have against potential future Russian aggression? I think those are the issues at stake here. And if both sides can take some time now, to take a step back and maybe revisit this, I'm not very confident we're going to see that. But that's clearly what we need to be thinking about doing.
Yeah, Carl, I'll bring you in for a final thought here before we kick off a new hour. I said before the break, France's Macron has been reacting to this shouting match in the Oval Office, reacting by saying Russia's the aggressor, Ukraine is the aggressed people. Macron says we're all right to help Ukraine and sanction Russia 3 years ago and continue to do so. We must respect those who have been fighting since the beginning. Also noting, Brett has sent out a note, Brett Baer, saying that the interview he has with President Zelensky on Special Report tonight is still on. And the White House does know that he's sitting down for that as well. The president's aware. So that will be fascinating to watch. Carl, get your thoughts here.
Well, I thought Dan was absolutely right. The Russians invaded Ukraine, and it's in Putin's ability to stop the war immediately. If I were Vladimir Putin and his advisor, if I were Zelensky and his advisors, I'd be remembering that you're dealing with the producer of The Apprentice. So the best thing to do here is to think about how this can be structured in such a way that they win and the President of the United States wins.
We may be watching the floor fall through this moment in international relations and diplomacy, or this might be the art of the deal, and we're not going to know for some time. Jackie, it appears that even going into this meeting that this relationship was not great. About a week ago, President Trump called Zelensky a dictator. He was asked about that yesterday with the British Prime Minister, and he said, "Did I say that?" Next question, as if he wanted to brush that off and make sure that things today went smoother.
Well, Zelensky, we're told, was begging to stay and work this out. The Ukrainians were begging the president and the White House to continue talking. The president's having none of it. He felt that Zelensky's just not ready for peace, and this deal was not signed. There is no signing. There will be no joint press conference. The next time we're going to see the president is at departure. There he goes right behind me. Zelensky on his way out of the White House gate. No deal signed, no joint press conference, tensions at an all-time high between these two leaders. Really, the prospect of peace talks, what this means for the war that has raged on for 3 years, you cannot overstate what a moment in time we've just witnessed. And while the president left the invitation open to come back when you're ready to talk seriously about what it takes to achieve peace, Zelensky feels very dug in. He was dismissive of the U.S. overtures that you've got to accept a ceasefire first. You've got to deal with the other side. The divide between the two could not be wider. And so we expect to see the president at departure, Marine One departure later on this afternoon when he heads to Mar-a-Lago for the weekend. But that is the only other time we're going to hear directly from him. And I guess we'll hear from Zelensky on Special Report tonight.